Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase, pricing, and availability questions concerning this watch. So in 2021, Armand Billard of France, his company, Sartory Billard, they launched the SB05, and that's exactly what we have right here. The SB05 was a breakthrough edition for the industrial designer turned artisan. And so this watch right here is a bespoke example of the SB05 being customized in every regard, rendering it unique. So the watch in stainless steel is 38.5 millimeters in diameter by 9 millimeters thick. 44.1 is the lug tip to lug tip span, and 20 millimeters is the space between the lugs. Now the watch, of course, is very wearable. As a 38.5, I would say this wears true to size, being so short across the wrist. And take a look at the general curvature of the lugs. This is a watch that a man or a woman can wear well. On my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, frankly, it wears even better than the camera seems to be capturing. The further I get away from the camera, the better a sense of scale you get. I believe you could wear this watch on a wrist as small as 13.5 centimeters circumference, and looking down the barrel, I have plenty of clearance on each side. You can also see that it's a very flat watch, particularly with the concave bezel. It'll easily fit underneath a cuff or a dress sleeve. The strap is a lovely calfskin piece. It's in medium brown. You can see that the edge has been cut and lacquered for refinement. We have a monotone stitch here, and the strap is actually made by Scarlett. There is a handcraft supplier for almost every single part, or at least every major assembly of the watch, including case, the dial, the strap itself, the box it comes in, the silk scarf in which it's packaged when it arrives. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. Let's get through the strap first. As you can see, pull tab spring bars are used to allow easy dismounting of the strap from the case, and a curvature to the bar allows the lugs to be drilled fairly close to the case without in any way impeding the motion or flexibility of the strap. The buckle here is a Sartory Billard bespoke piece. They would never use an off-the-shelf component. Armand wouldn't allow that. So you can see it's a combination of satin and polish, and there's a nice break between the satin and the polish. Unusual on an integral component like this to have double finishing across two different surfaces. Now the case is a fascinating piece. As you can see, it includes polish, media blast, and satin, all three in close proximity. And although it's not quite to longa extent, we do have a little bit of a stepped profile to the lugs, so they're broken out from the case band. It's not a Calatrava style blending of lug into case. Now you can see the difference between the polished and the satin brushed and the media blasted facets here. You can also see that the bezel is somewhat recessed in from the case band. It's polished and then concave in profile. We have Sartory Billard's crown, which is primarily media blasted, but you can see it also includes satination and polish. That's right, triple finish on a crown, on a component that small, but every detail matters here. The watch does feature a push-down crown, and in case you're wondering, 50-meter water resistance, 5 ATM. Taking a look at the dial itself, there's a lot going on. So we've got a track outboard that features a combination of indices and skeletonized Breguet-style Arabic numerals. We also have underneath that a lovely sort of charcoal coloration, and it is a tremblage style. That's how I would describe it. It's almost as though it's been chiseled. It's a really gorgeous looking gray that contrasts handsomely with the guilloche of the center. The guilloche, which is either a ricochet pattern or maybe a queue de poisson, a fish scale. It is an awesome looking sort of three-dimensional depth effect that really becomes fine and intricate the closer you get to the hands at center. At the base, you have a polished titanium sub-register and a lovely little counterweighted small seconds hand. You'll take a look and you'll see that the bezel for the small seconds has been polished inboard and satin finished on its rim, and the same can be said of the inner bezel that frames the inner dial. It has a polished inboard bevel and then satination along its top. The attention to detail is excellent. The Sartory Billard nameplate features both beveling in detail and satination, and then the hands, which Armand creates himself, you can see that they are layered affairs with a fluting down the center and then a little bit of a concave on each side of the fluting with high polish and a lovely taper. And then above that, you can see there's an overrider on each top plane that's beautifully media blasted with the cannon pinion and the recess at the center of the minute hand mirror polished. Quite beautiful. And again, because this is a bespoke example, you will never find another that looks like this. You've got that gray-grained tremblage, the salmon guilloche, you've got these hands in combination with the polished sub-second. This watch is likely to remain unique. Given the number of options that Armand offers, you'll never see another one like this. Turning it all over, a little bit of a fascinating choice. This was a big step up mechanically for Armand, and it sort of presaged his move into complications. So we have here a movement by La Joux-Perret, which is a very well-regarded Swiss manufacturer. They're behind the Arnold & Son and Angelus brands. And this is an LJP 7380 doing business as the SBM01. So manual wind, 90-hour power reserve. It's a 21 joule 3 hertz movement that's large at 30 millimeters in diameter, but flat at only 2.9 millimeters thick. It has a nickel anthracite coating across its surfaces, and it is 5-position adjusted, which is the high horology standard and the standard for chronometers. Of course, La Joux-Perret is out of La Chaux-de-Fonds, so the movement itself is made in Switzerland. You can see we have solarization on the crown wheel and crown wheel core, double solarization on the ratchet wheel. The screws are all high polished. We have this lovely circular satination across the bridges, and then an excellent bevel. It's primarily mechanical in its execution, but it is truly mirrored. When you look at it closely, it is a mirrored flash. There are not obvious milling marks to be seen. So it is a good-looking movement with impressive specs that properly fills out the case, and you can see that some elements are particularly thoughtful, such as, for example, the custom motto or mantra, "Be not troubled." You can also see La Joux-Perret acknowledging its involvement with a combination of a chiseled and satinated wheel adjacent to a balance, which featured splayed spokes. You know, when you see those splayed spokes as opposed to straight, you're looking at a high-grade balance, and you can see that the balance cock itself is in contrast to the other bridges because it has been media blasted rather than brushed. So a lot to see here and a lot to enjoy. A watch that is completely unique, made in France, artisan crafted. The case, like I said, the wood box it comes from, Nicolas Venant creates it. So Nicolas Venant is actually a woodworker. And after Venant, you have Atelier Boivin, which is responsible for the silk scarf in which this is packaged. Scarlett handles the strap. Voudelainen et Catin, which is Carrie Voudelainen's case factory, they make the case, and then certain elements of the dial are done by Comblamine, which is Carrie Voudelainen's dial factory, and then the remaining elements, such as the numerals and the hands, are done by Armand himself in his French atelier. So this is a team effort of handcrafted parts. Reach out to Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase, for pricing, for availability details.